Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. Avatar The Way of Water begins not as a sequel but as a continuation of a living pulse by James Cameron's meditation on family survival and the world's fragile balance between beauty and destruction. From the first breath, it feels less like returning to Pandora and more like returning to something primal, to a planet that remembers us even when we have forgotten it. The story unfolds through the eyes of Jack Sully and Neytiri, no longer as warriors of revolution but parents, guardians of a new generation born in peace yet fated for war. Their family becomes the emotional current that drives the film forward, each child reflecting a fragment of their parents' courage, doubt, and humanity. Kiri, the adopted daughter born of mysterious origins, becomes the soul of the narrative, a child whose connection to nature borders on the divine, suggesting that Pandora itself breathes through her veins. Loak, restless and defiant, carries a burden of legacy. Forever, they are caught between his father's expectations and his own need to define courage on his terms. Cameron uses the family's migration from forest to sea as both a story of exile and rediscovery. When they flee the destruction brought by returning human colonies, what we call the Sky People, they seek among the Metkayina clan, whose life is shaped by the ocean's rhythm. The sea becomes more than setting, it becomes a consciousness, a mirror of their transformation. Here, Cameron reminds us that evolution demands humility. The Sullys must unlearn everything they know about survival, to breathe differently, to live differently, to see the world not as owners but as participants in its design. Now, this act of adaptation is at the heart of The Way of Water. To live is to change, and to change is to surrender control. Now, the film's visuals are hypnotic in their precision. On Blu-ray, every frame is liquid poetry, where waves shimmering with crystalline light, skin glistening with salt, and luminous fauna of Pandora glowing like the heartbeat of a planet alive with memory. Now, the 1080p transfer retains the breathtaking sharpness, and even without HDR's full dynamic range, the Blu-ray really captures the depth in color and emotion that few live action films can really achieve. Now, the sound design in DTS HD Master Audio envelopes the viewers every ripple of echo, reminding us that this world speaks in frequencies beyond human hearing. Cameron doesn't just create images, he orchestrates an environment that breathes it. The ocean sequences, shot with revolutionary underwater motion capture, achieve something extraordinary. They, in fact, reminds us that water is not merely an element but a metaphor for connection. It binds, reflects, and heals, carrying the film's emotional undertow with serene inevitability. Yet beneath this spectacle lies tragedy as well. The return of human forces, masked as exploration but fueled by exploitation, reveals the cyclical nature of colonization. They come not just to mine but to conquer immortality itself, where harvesting the serum from Tulkun, intelligent whale-like beings whose grief mirrors our own. In one of the film's most devastating scenes, the killing of a Tulkun is filmed not as a spectacle but as a sacrilege, forcing us to confront how far humanity will go to exploit what it cannot understand. Cameron's ecological message is not shouted, it is sung in sorrow. He reminds us that the nature's wrath is not vengeful, it is inevitable when revenge is replaced by greed. The emotional weight of The Way of Water comes from its quieter moments. Neytiri's grief held in silence, Jack's helplessness as a father learning that leadership meaning letting go. The family gathered under the glow of bioluminescent sea after loss. Now, these are the moments that give the film its humanity. The spectacle is vast, but the intimacy is what it endures. Now, Kiri's connection to Eva, the living force that blinds all life, evokes the same spiritual resonance that powered the first Avatar. Yet here it feels more personal, less myth and more faith. Through her, the film whispers an idea both unsettling and comforting. Perhaps divinity is not something we seek above us, but something we are already part of. Cameron's direction balances myth and emotion with remarkable control. Though some critics found the film indulgent in length and repetition, but even in its excess, The Way of Water carries sincerity rare in modern blockbusters. It dares to believe in wonder, in the possibility that cinema can still remind us what awe really feels like. Now, the film grossed over $2 billion worldwide, a triumph that speaks not just to its scale, but to its sincerity. Audiences return not simply for the spectacle, but for the feeling of immersion, a sensation lost in an age of cynicism and quick edits. As the story draws towards its conclusion, the film focuses narrows from global stakes to one family's survival, transforming war into ritual, death into renewal. The final act, set within a sinking vessel engulfed by flame and water, fuses the mythic tragedy with elements of rebirth. Fire and sea, destruction and forgiveness, rage and grace. With these, Cameron unites them in an operatic finale that feels as ancient as it does futuristic. By the end, Jake Sully's closing words are, "This is our fortress," which actually resonates not as a defiance but devotion. His fortress is not just made of steel or strategy, but it is built from connection, family, and belonging to something greater than himself. Watching Avatar The Way of Water on Blu-ray is to experience the intersection of technology and tenderness. The film's world building is immense, but its heart remains delicate, reminding us that progress means nothing if it costs the world that gave us life. Cameron's message is timeless, that nature does not need saving, it just needs remembering. The Way of Water, as the film tells us, connecting all things. Before the story ends, the film makes us believe that this connection between parent and child, between world and spirit, is the only truth that endures. In fact, in its deepest current, The Way of Water is not about survival or victory, but also about returning to the rhythm of existence itself, a rhythm we once knew and must learn again before it is too late. Now, this movie is a must watch.